12 years after hanging Chads and the 2000 recount, voting in Florida is an absolute disaster. And once again, it's all part of the GOP plan. Today, Democrats were filing lawsuits and calling out Republicans for voter suppression after early voting ended last night with some of the longest lines the state has ever seen.
The line here at the Coral Reef Library in Southwest Miami-Dade is now closed, but there are still hundreds of people waiting to cast their ballots.
I was in line for about 5 hours. Long time.
The longest lines in Miami-Dade have been here in Miami Gardens, and from Miramar to downtown to Aventura to Miami Beach, the lines have all been long.
How long did you wait?
I waited 7 hours in the line.
At Miami-Dade election headquarters, the line to early vote snaked around the building and ranged from 5 to as much as 8 hours.
It was exhausting.
Democrats filed an emergency lawsuit to extend early voting in several counties, and some county elections officials tried to fix the situation using a little-known voting law that lets people cast in-person absentee ballots. But even that quickly turned sour when overwhelmed poll watchers in Miami-Dade tried and failed to shut down the line. A Miami Herald reporter tweeted minute-by-minute updates of the unfolding chaos. Quote, no word yet from the mayor's administration on chaos at Doral election headquarters, which has locked the doors with voters chanting outside. To recap, Miami-Dade said it would turn away any in-person or absentee voters. Then it locked election headquarters doors, now set to resume. Miami-Dade Elections now says it will reopen for all in-person absentee voters in line by 5 p.m. What a mess. With 15 minutes before closing, the line outside Miami-Dade election headquarters is about 500 people deep. She's right. This is a mess. It's a deliberate mess because Governor Rick Scott and his Republican administration scaled back early voting precisely so this would happen. In 2000, it was hanging chads. In 2012, it's 6-hour waits. But voters will not stop fighting for their rights. Joining me now is Bishop Victor T. Curry, pastor of the New Birth Baptist Church in Miami, who spearheaded Operation Lemonade, the voting drive last week, a Heads National Action Network in South Florida, and Aaron McPike, national political reporter for Real Clear Politics, who is live in Cincinnati, Ohio tonight. Thank you both for being here.
Thank you, Reverend Shelton.
Bishop Curry, let me start with you. What do you make of these latest voting problems in your state?
Well, I'm not surprised. And just to let everyone know, even though our mayoral race here is nonpartisan, the mayor is a Tea Party Republican. So I'm not really surprised by what's going on here in Miami-Dade County. But what I am happy about, Reverend Sharpton, is that the people of Miami-Dade County and Broward County and Palm Beach County, they have such determination. It doesn't matter how long they stay in line. They're going to stay there and they're going to cast their vote, and they're going to protest for the right to cast their votes.
I was with you last week as early voting started, and we toured through Broward County and Miami-Dade. I saw lines that even stunned you, who came up with the idea and worked with other clergy there with this Operation Lemonade, turning lemons into lemonade. And now we see the reaction from those officials. This is exactly what you and the leaders there feared, was why they were cutting back souls to the polls, which should have been today. You had to do it last Sunday, because people do want to vote, and they seemingly are determined to try and stop them from voting.
Exactly, but the people won't be deterred. They are really, really determined to cast their votes, and that made all of us feel so proud, because what they're saying to the rest of the country is that, in the words of the civil rights movement back in the 60s, we're not going to let anyone turn us around. We've come too far for anyone to turn us back now.
Now, Bishop, for people around the country to understand, they have extended voting before in Florida, Republican governors. I had on your former governor, Crist, on the show,
yes.
And he, as a Republican governor, extended voting. Let me tell you what he told me on this show Friday night, what he felt was behind this.
It's hard to interpret it any other way, Reverend Al. I think it is voter suppression. I think it's ridiculous and unfortunate. My heart bleeds for the people of Florida. They ought to have the opportunity to exercise, as I said, this cherished, precious right to vote. We got to remember, a lot of people fought very hard for people to have that right, and some died for it. We ought to respect that.
Former governor of Florida, a Republican, said it was voter suppression. It's hard to see it any other way, Bishop.
Well, I agree with him. I agree with Jim Greer. I mean, how many more witnesses do we need for the Republican Party to see that this number one was wrong, and number two, it has backfired. They meant it for evil, but God meant it for good. It reawakens something in a whole lot of people who may have been otherwise nonchalant about this election.
Now, Aaron, you're in Cincinnati, and there are long lines in Cincinnati and all over Ohio. How do I know? Because you're writing about it. Tell us about it.
Yes, that's right. I'm in Hamilton County right now, where Cincinnati is. And one thing about early voting that people may not understand is, while there are hundreds and hundreds of precincts in each county on Election Day, in early voting, there's just one early voting location per county. And that's why we're seeing these really long lines like we've seen this weekend. Also, the hours are shorter. So on Saturday, it was 8 a.m. to 2 p.m., and today it was just 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. So it's a little bit less time that people get to actually early vote, and they're all going down to these single one per county locations.
Now these, Aaron, these are one per county because of John Husted and the decision of the officials. They are not limited by law. It could be more than one per county.
That's true. But you know what, Al? I talked to a number of people who were voting early yesterday, and they told me that they felt more confident going to this one place in one county where they could cast their vote, because they know that they wouldn't be casting a provisional ballot. One man told me that 4 years ago, he went to 3 different polling locations on Election Day before the poll watchers told him he was actually allowed to cast his vote. And I heard from several people who said the same thing, that their polling location changed. They didn't trust that, and they didn't want to be harassed about it, so they knew they could cast their vote in this one location and it would count.
And we're showing those long lines. You wrote, according, quote, I'm quoting you to you, according to the Obama campaign's national field director, Jeremy Byrd, as of Saturday, 179,000 midterm voters had cast their ballots in Ohio counties that Obama won in 2008, but just 91,000 non-midterm voters had done so in Ohio's predominantly Republican counties. Do you feel the inference here is that some people are dealing with partisan politics here?
Well, look, Hamilton County, where I am now, is a swing county. It went for the Republican governor in 2010, but President Obama won this county narrowly in 2008. And when I surveyed this line yesterday, it was predominantly Obama voters who were voting early. Absolutely.
A lot of people, Bishop Curry, felt that this was voter suppression, messing with early voting, messing with voter ID. You said, let's turn it into lemonade. All over the country we've traveled was there with you. Do you feel that there has been, in many ways, a backlash to those attempts, at least in Florida, to stifle people from voting?
I really do, Reverend Sharpton. And as you saw the lines last weekend, they continued the entire week. Even on yesterday, I went again to Miami Gardens, North Dade Regional Library, and trust me, the lines were all the way down the street. people will not be deterred. And that's what really, really excites me about this particular election, because people are showing intestinal fortitude, that they refuse to be denied.
And no matter who they vote for, we must continue to protect their vote. Bishop Curry, Aaron, thank you both for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Sharpton.
We'll be right back with more from my interview with President Obama, how he deals with the ugly side of politics. Stay with us.
This is what democracy looks like. It's big, and it's bold.